Alright, what's going on, guys? Thewunk here, coming at you with some Battlefield 2042 Season 7 news. It is about to get crazy in this season, and I can't believe these changes are happening, and I'm actually pretty stoked about it. I think these changes are necessary, so let's dive right into it. So all this information is from Twitter here. I'll have a link down below where you can read it yourself, but I'm just going to actually read it all to you right now, right here. So sit back, relax, and let's get this. Alright, so Season 7 includes a shift in media balance between weapon categories and raising the lowest time to kill to a healthier level, to a revamp of the virtual recoil system, to living up the shooting experience alongside many more balancing improvements. This sounds wild. The fact that we're actually having these changes happen now is just wild to me, but also I'm excited for this. All right, so visual weapon recoil improvements is a massive thing coming to Season 7, and honestly it just sounds really awesome. So check this out. We wanted weapons to feel more unique and powerful when it comes to firing them. As such, we have made changes to how visual recoil is handled within the game and tuned them to the vision for each weapon. That's so great. I'm so glad we're finally getting something like that. Continues on saying, it's an effort to create a more vivid firing experience, which will provide more visual emphasis on the weight and power of a weapon you fire while aiming down sights. I think this is great, because I mean, honestly, like, it's gonna make Battlefield 2042 feel a little bit less arcade-like. If we can feel a little bit more of the weight of the weapon while we're actually firing it, I don't know, it's just gonna add like a really nice extra element to the experience. So I'm excited for that. All right, so moving on to the headshot multiplier rebalancing section. So this is pretty wild, so let's just get right into it. So they continue on saying, one of the other big updates coming in Season 7 is a rebalancing of the headshot damage multipliers. These changes will bring a rebalancing of our weapon categories, particularly SMGs, assault rifles, and LMGs, and how they perform at different ranges. So that is nuts. And then they continue on saying, we are compressing the headshot multipliers, which results in the characteristics of these weapons mattering more. And with the change, we anticipate seeing a better equilibrium between them when it comes to usage rates and competitiveness. All right, so now diving into the SMG category. This is pretty nuts. This weapon category will now benefit from a 1.55 headshot multiplier. They are now stronger in close quarter combat and at performing headshots due to the higher multiplier and improvements to their aim down sight movement speeds. Their optimal efficiency will stand toe-to-toe against ARs when it comes to pure firepower under 30 to 50 meters with the same potential 3 headshot kill range. That is nuts. I'm actually kind of glad. I don't know. I think that's going to bring a lot more characteristic to SMGs. At least that's what I think. And this is pretty awesome too with SMGs. Check this out. It needs to be pointed out that the PP29 has received less improvements this update, which is, that's fair, since it was already a high performer and belongs to a different archetype than most other SMGs. This weapon will still benefit from the headshot multiplier changes. On the other hand, Vault SMGs have also received extra improvements to their bullet velocity. That is so sick. This is actually going to give me some reason to dive into the Vault weapons when it comes to SMGs, because that velocity is going to be so much fun to dive into. So that's huge. All right, so now moving on to the assault rifles. This is pretty interesting as well. So here we go. So they state, assault rifles will now benefit from a 1.9 headshot multiplier. This means that in general, they will no longer have a 2 headshot kill range in close quarter combat and instead require 3 headshots. Ha! That's nuts. Which we anticipate is going to be less likely to take place within a single full auto burst due to the nature of recoil and dispersion. That's so wild. Okay, so there it is. And then they continue on saying that this change will raise the lowest possible TTK in that close quarter combat area, which was previously too low and leading to frustration by our players, as well as putting too much balance in favor of assault rifles. So honestly, I kind of like that, you know, having assault rifles be more of that mid to long range. I just think that's great. And then having use of more SMGs. Like, I think it's a good idea. I just think it's great. What do you guys think? Do you like this? All right, so moving on to the LMGs. This is nuts and a little bit similar to the assault rifles, so you'll see. Let's dive right into it. So LMGs will now benefit from a 1.9 headshot multiplier, similar to above, which above being the assault rifle section. This now removes a 2 headshot kill scenario across the roster and addresses instances of extremely low TTK. And then they continue on saying that this will drive LMGs away from close quarter combat and more into the mid and long range. I just like that. I do. I think that's great. That's how it was, like, at least that's how it would, to my memory, it's how it was in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. But that's just me. And they continue on saying, will remain at a similar power level when compared to assault rifles. In addition, dispersion has been slightly reduced for the following vault weapons: the M24, the M60, and the Type 88. You know, I've been playing a lot of LMGs recently within Battlefield 2042 and using them at actual close range. And so actually having this making me have to stick back to mid to long range is actually kind of neat. I like that. I like that if, you know, if you pick a weapon, you know what you're going to have to do. So that I find that exciting. I think that's cool. All right, so some quality of life when it comes to vehicles. So let's dive right into it. So continue on. They say, we're aware that ground vehicles currently face too many threats, both from infantry and other vehicles. And due to this, it automatically encourages defensive gameplay, which takes place from a large distance. I mean, that's so true. How often do you see tanks in the far back of the map just sniping people because they don't want to charge in because they know they'll just be taken out so quickly by infantry or by other vehicles? Like, we see a lot of campers out there in the tanks. At least I do personally. All right, so then they continue on saying, it has also been our aim to encourage and empower vehicles so that they feel able to engage with objectives and be alongside their fellow infantry teammates. As such, with this update, we are aiming to lessen the amount of threats towards ground vehicles in order to give them breathing room, while also ensuring that infantry are capable of engaging too. Okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. As a you know, a tank driver, I'll take less threats. That sounds great. And then to continue, they say, to achieve this, we are increasing the time before a vehicle can be hacked. And we are also removing the EMP functionality from Casper's OVP recon drone. Going forward, this will now be focused more towards spotting infantry and vehicles. Holy hell, that's crazy. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fine as a tank driver. Again, that's great. All right, so this is where things get really, really spicy. So they continue on and they say this: we've continued our work with the Gadget's team to lower the amount of C5 from 3 to 2 on assault and recon classes. Holy shit. Wow, engineers will have access to 3 C5. Like, that's awesome, because that, I don't know, that just gives me back like old, like, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 vibes. Like, the engineer always had more explosives, you know, he was more stocked. Okay, then they continue on saying, anti-tank mines will now take 2 seconds to activate upon being placed. 2 whole seconds for each anti-tank mine. I love that. I think that's great. So they can no longer be used in the same fashion as C5. Brilliant. I mean, I've had so many people come up to me while I'm in a tank, and they just throw down a mine and boom, it's gone, you know, like immediately. So I think this cooldown on this, the anti-tank mine, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. So then they continue on saying, all of these changes are about elevating some of the active fire that vehicles are undergoing through the course of a match. However, to offset these changes, we are increasing the cooldown of flares to encourage a more aggressive downtime window, which contributes to healthier air and ground balance. Holy shit, flares just got nerfed. Damn, that is just nuts. And then they continue on saying, the engagement between the Wildcat and our air vehicles is not where we want it to be and can often result in a very lopsided gameplay loops. Loops for either side. In order to help with this, we are lowering the range of the main default cannon, which will create a window of opportunity. Oh man, yeah, that's just crazy. Dude, Wildcat, man. Wildcat's getting a little hit. They're also removing the 40mm cannon on the Wildcat in order to fully commit this vehicle towards ground-to-air duty. Ah, man, you know, we're losing the cannon. We're losing that 40mm cannon. That's all right. We'll get over it. We'll get over it. Also, too, these changes are wild. Like, the fact that we're even getting all these changes is just insane. And the list just keeps going. So, Here we go. We're going to enter the first person sensitivity and ground turret section. This is nuts. Alright, so they continue on saying, up to this point, we had aggressive sensitivity constraints on aiming systems on our ground vehicles in order to make sure players cannot necessarily turn the turret at very high speed, and there was always a catch-up phase for the turret to match your input unless the player was zooming in with the vehicle's primary cannon. Yeah, that's fair. With this update, we are changing that, okay? You will now have a similar experience to zooming when driving around unzoomed. That's nuts. This sensitivity rate can be changed within the options menu. Oh, so we can now aim faster when zooming in. I love that. All right, so, and they have in their final note here, we're going to skip through a little bit of it, but basically, engineers are going to be the class that is the main anti-vehicle role, and here's why. In an upcoming update, we will be increasing the available RPG recoilless and all other area equivalents by 1, as well as in a later update, revisiting the system repair balance and Irish APS changes. Crawford's trait will also benefit from these changes in a future update. That's huge, and also that just makes me really excited because, you know, in previous Battlefield titles, the engineer was the anti-vehicle class, at least, you know, for some time. You know, before that they had their own personal class, like way back in the day in like Battlefield, what, 1942 or whatever. But the engineer is just like the class to take out vehicles. So the fact that they are going back, at least attempting to go back to their core roots of what a Battlefield experience should be within 2042, I just think that's great. Guys, what do you think of these changes? These changes are absolutely insane, and they just came out of nowhere. At least for me, they did. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Guys, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. I'm going to be covering a good amount of Battlefield 2042 Season 7. There's a lot of coverage here. So hit the subscribe button. We're pushing our goals, pushing the limits on this channel. So let's make this happen. You guys are awesome. We'll see you guys later. This is Thewunk, signing out.